Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my channel, Handmade by Ying with Donna. Today is January the 9th, 2023, and I have a fabulous guest with me tonight, Martha of Martha's Creative Life. Thank you, sweetheart, for coming on with me tonight and doing this interview.
Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, I love interviewing. It's the favorite part of my job.
I love it.
So let me slip into the chat real quick. We've only got a few, and that'll give them a chance to slip on. Let me see. Janine. Are we here yet? Are we here yet? I just love that girl. Delia, hello, sweetheart, and welcome. She's telling you hi, and Joe as well. Amy C, hey, girl. Linda Denton, hello, sweetie. And the gang's all here. So as they come in, we're going to go ahead and start talking. They're starting to pop in now. Hi, so Terry. Takes a second for the notification to let everyone know that I'm live. So in the meantime, let me get to picking your brain. So how did you ever get started into quilting? Give me a little bit of your back tale.
Well, I got started in quilting probably about 2010. I've always been a huge scrapbooker. So when scrapbooking was big, that's what I did a lot of. And then I kind of just got too busy with life and my daughter, getting older. So I decided to do something where I could stay more at home and enjoy that a little bit more. And when my aunt passed away, about 2010, my mom and dad gave me her old Kenmore sewing machine and her stash of fabric, and I actually still have some of it left. Haven't done a whole lot with it because it's not as the material that I like as much of, but it's still some of her things of, when she was tinkering around with a sewing machine. And the sewing machine, I had to finally give it up. It bit the dust and got a newer one. Yeah, so it was well loved. And now probably since the pandemic started, that's when I really started working on some more stuff, because we were at home more, we weren't going out, and just found the love of quilting again.
That's awesome. I think pandemic lockdown, as hard as it was for us, I think it really streamlined a lot of us getting into quilting. I used to tease Joe, my channel name, if I could have named it, it was going to be the COVID quilter, because that's when I started. But that's when you couldn't say the word COVID. Everybody was scared to death.
Yeah.
So I thought it would have been a hoot to be the COVID quilter. How old were you when you...
I call you the COVID quilter from now on. Oh, you mean Donna?
Yeah. Yeah. How old were you when you first made your very first quilt?
How old was I?
Yeah.
48.
Did anybody teach you to quilt, or are you self-taught?
YouTube.
YouTube.
I'm a YouTube graduate. I love the ideas of being able to watch the videos instead. I tried to look at the books, and I need video. I need to be able to see it in action.
Amen.
And YouTube was a godsend. Yeah.
I think it really kicked up during the pandemic per se, and I loved it. That's how I learned. And you can hit that pause button and work the project and then catch it right back up.
Exactly.
Let me slip into the chat. We've got a couple. Hello, Heather, the debt-free quilter. Hey, hey, girlfriend. Denise Beck. Hi, sweetheart. And it's always a privilege to see you hop in. Hello, Courtney, and welcome tonight. Hope all is well on your end. So let me slip on back to the questions. What do you like best about quilting?
Well, you think about it, what quilting is, it's rather hilarious. You take a piece of fabric that's perfectly fine by itself, you cut it all up, sew it together, and create something absolutely beautiful. And I think that's what I love, is just that being able to be creative, and you can use a pattern, or you don't have to use a pattern. You can just kind of let it play out organically and see what you can come up with.
I love that theology.
Yeah.
Do you find quilting kind of like a bit of therapeutic?
Yes.
Like in a stressful day.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you're going to hit your machine.
Stressful work day, and you're like, okay, let's just have some woosah time with the machine, and the feel of the fabric, and just seeing what you can come up with.
Absolutely. I will always be a student at YouTube University. I love it. Do you have children?
I do. I have one, and it's my daughter.
Did she ever get the quilting bug per se?
Not yet. She's a young adult, so she hasn't, she's in college right now, so she's not considering quilting. And when I went over on Saturday to see her, because I just had gotten back from visiting with her before classes started today, and I took my newest quilt and I said, look, and she went, oh my goodness, it's beautiful.
Oh, that's cool. Let me see what it looks like.
It's beautiful.
Oh, sweetheart. I love those colors.
Thank you. I got it, the fabric from Joann's a couple years ago.
That is really cute.
That's the front, and this is the back.
Now, did you design it yourself?
You know the jelly roll races?
Yeah.
That's what it's from. It was from a jelly roll race sometime in September 2 years ago.
Now, did you do all your own quilting on it?
Yes. Yeah.
What kind of quilting did you do?
Not stitching in the ditch. It's right, maybe like 1/8 of an inch outside of the ditch.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So I did that. And then washed it. It's all crinkly. That's my favorite.
Absolutely. If I'm going to gift a quilt, I always wash it so it's got that crinkly, and I know they're going to use it. Don't just lay it there. I want it all crinkly. I think you did beautiful with the color selection.
Thank you.
What kind of a sewing machine do you use? Do you have a preference?
I have, so when I first started sewing again, after the Kenmore had bit the dust, I got a brother sewing machine. And then my husband's like, you need a bigger machine. You need something a little bit better. So not that a brother sewing machine, there's anything wrong with it. He wanted to get me something that had a little bit more throat space. So we found a Baby Lock Verb. And I love
it. Girl all the way.
Yeah, I love it.
So in your 9 to 5, what kind of, you don't tell me where you work, but what kind of a career do you have?
It's more in the financial field.
That is so cool.
Yeah. So getting to do work on quilts and is a complete opposite of, the 9 to 5
numbers.
Yes.
Do you have a designated quilt room?
I share it with my daughter because she goes away to college. So she's not here 24/7. So when she does come to visit, her bedroom happens to be a very long bedroom, and it works out perfect because I have half of the room and then she has the other half.
Oh, that's awesome. Have you ever taken quilting lessons or sewing lessons?
Do you count home ec in junior high?
Yeah, sure. I'll give you that one. You hooked me with it.
No.
How much time would you say in an average week you spend quilting?
It depends on the week, how busy, what we're doing outside of work, on the weekends, but I can spend 30 minutes to a couple hours.
Oh, that's cool. Do you ever find as you're sewing, you get lost and it's like, oh man, I should have been in bed a few hours ago?
Yes. You're like, oh, it's 11 o'clock at night. I better get to bed.
How does your family feel about quilting? Do they like you having something to do, or is it like, Mom, of all the things, quilting?
No, my mom and dad, they absolutely love it. They actually watch my YouTube channel and they support me from afar. My husband loves it because he gets to see quilts come out of, he wants to be able to see the quilts. And, the Grinch quilt that I made, he was my first one. I put it on him. I was like, okay, what do you think? Does it keep you warm? And he goes, I really like this. It's great.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Do you ever name your quilts, and do you put labels on your quilts so you know the label, the date, and do you ever log them so you can always remember the quilts that you've made? That's a mouthful. Do I?
That's a really good idea. I need to keep a log of them. That's an excellent idea. I think in a Sew Sampler box, we had gotten some labels, but I need to find those so I can label the 2 most recent ones that I've done.
Yeah, I kind of do a cheat. I take a picture of it, and you know how you can edit. I always put the
Yeah,
quilt number on that picture.
that's a good
And then
idea.
yeah, and then I have a book that I label it, log it, and I'm just a little bit much.
But I like that though. If you want to go back and say, hey, I'm in 2022, I made this many quilts, and you can see what you made.
Yeah, and then if I've gifted it or if I still have
Mhm.
it, I write it in there so I know who it went to and whatnot. You know, I'm just like I said, a little much.
No, you're perfect just as you are.
What's the hardest thing that you've had to overcome with learning how to quilt?
Do you really want to know what it is?
Yep.
It's the binding. I love doing it now because I did hate it before, but I still have not the binding of it's at the very end when you have to put the two pieces of it together. There's a certain video that I go watch every single time. I'm like, all right, how does she do this again?
Oh, God love you.
But it works.
Who's your favorite YouTubers if you could list the top 5 that you've learned something from?
Karen from Just Get It Done Quilts. She was a big one.
Amazing.
Yeah, she is amazing. Becca from So Becca.
Absolute.
I'm trying to think of the ones that I really started watching in the beginning.
I told you I'd put you on the spot tonight.
That's okay. Well, I mean, Sean from the guy who sews, he taught me how to make a bag, you know. So I had never made one of those before. So he's taught me. I can't remember any of the others off the top of my head. Well, Fat Quarter Shop, obviously, and Missouri Star.
There you go.
I think that's 4 or 5.
That's a pretty good. You've got a solid base there. Have you ever had trouble making your stitches all come out about the same? Like, we know we set them on our machines, you know what I'm saying? But we all struggle. Sometimes you're pushing a little faster.
Yes. Yeah. I had that on the Grinch quilt. I'm like, why is it doing this? And I'm like, no. So I had to take Jack out and fix it. And I realized that I was going too fast.
Yeah.
So learning that, you know, just the right amount of push and pull.
Let me see. Do you have a technique that you favor right now as a new quilter to keep your seams straight? Do you use like a seam guide? Do you use
that the diagonal seam tape? It's on my machine, and that's what I use. It needs to be replaced because I need to get another piece and put on there. I love that diagonal seam tape. If I didn't have that, that's made a difference to me.
Oh, absolute. Do you have a choice of colors that you seem to migrate to?
Purple.
All
Flowers.
shades of purple.
All shades of purple. Flowers. Anything bright and cheery. Those are the colors that I really gravitate towards.
Do you have a favorite fabric designer that you like, or are you one, look, as a new quilter, you're trying all kinds yet and haven't really found your one?
I haven't really found my one. I like all different kinds, you know, in the Cotton Cuts Advent box that Sean and I opened up last month. I got to have some Tula pink fabric. So that was the first time I'd really had any of that fabric. So that's neat. I love the Moda fabrics. My bestest sister-in-law, Stephanie, has been introducing me to other fabric companies. I'm like, okay, who's this from?
What kind of thread do you prefer to use?
I use the Gutermann thread.
Does your machine seem to like it? Some machines kind of like kick back. I know my Baby Lock does love Gutermann and Aurifil, but if I put Gutermann in my Singer, it's a no-go. So it's kind of like my machine knows I need Aurifil.
Like, no, thank you. No, ma'am.
Where do you seem to buy your fabrics? Do you shop online more, or do you find yourself like you like to feel the textures, you want to see if you can see through it, things like that. So like Joann's, Hobby Lobby, Walmart, whatever.
I don't have a Joann's near me. It's probably about a good 45 minutes away from me. So I don't really shop at Joann's, and that's where all this fabric could come from. Here was from Joann's, but that was when we lived, we moved to Alabama about a year and a half ago. So where we were from before, we had a Joann's right down the road. I could go by there anytime. But now I have a Hobby Lobby close to me, but I don't tend to buy the fabrics there. Not that is anything wrong with them. I don't find anything that speaks to me. I already have what I need at home. I do have a local quilt store that's about 45 minutes north of me. And I love going in there and touching the fabrics and feeling it. And that's when you really, truly can, for me, I can find the right fabric.
Now you're going to like this question. Do you pick the fabric and then the pattern, or the pattern, then the fabric?
Fabric, then the pattern.
Quilting's in your heart. Have you ever tried making other types of quilts versus like your patterns? We all do, like t-shirt quilts, applique. Do you have a preference of the type of quilts that you like to make?
The first quilt I made was for a girlfriend of mine that lives back home where we're from. Her daughter was graduating high school, and she said, I want you to make me a t-shirt quilt for my daughter. And I was just like, you want me to make what? So that was a labor of love. It took me forever to get that done, because that was my real first quilt that I had ever made. And it turned out beautiful, very heavy. But I'm hesitant to do another t-shirt quilt because they just take up so much time. So I think the next time I won't make it as large as I did. It will be a little bit more compact, and yeah.
T-shirt quilt compact. You got to tell me your secret. I love doing t-shirt quilts. I can knock them
you'll
out
have to tell me your secret.
I can knock one out in 3 days.
Oh, wow.
We got to talk offline.
We do.
What kind of quilt are you working on right now?
Well, I just finished up the quilt that I showed you a minute ago. That I finished that up this past, I think it was Friday night that I finished it up. We are working on the Cotton Cuts Piazza. My bestest sister-in-law and I ever are working on those right now. So we're working on the blocks, and I haven't started a new one because Sean and I have something in the works soon that will be shared, but we haven't started making anything yet. That's all I can say.
All right. This He's a guy that's all over the place is all I got. Where do you find your
who sews?
I know the guy who sews. He's just about everywhere. Where do you find your quilt patterns? Do you look like online? Is it in quilt shops? Give me a little bit of.
I love Fat Quarter Shops patterns, the ones that you can just print out for free. I love them. The Grinch one and then the one that I just finished, those weren't actual patterns. Those were in my head. And I thought, okay, let's see how we can put those together. So most of my quilts that I've made, I haven't used a pattern.
Okay. Now, I'm getting text messages here, so I'm just going to go ahead and throw this one out there. You're going to love it. Rumor mill has it, because you know how we got to put a damper on a rumor. Who is this sister-in-law that quilts? Because they've got you dubbed with a YouTuber of the same first name. So
Correct.
Clarify this, that is or is not the infamous. That way we can put a lid on it.
My bestest sister-in-law ever, her name is Stephanie. She is not, however, the Stephanie from Stephanie Stitches, which I absolutely adore Stephanie from Stephanie Stitches. But that is not my sister-in-law. We both have blonde hair. But she lives up north. She has two little babies. at home, and she's been quilting for a lot longer than I have. She actually learned from her grandmother, but we are really truly best as sister-in-laws. I've never had someone that I just feel so connected with in the family as how I do with her. So
Oh, sweet.
yeah.
We've got a couple questions, so I'm going to slip over to the chat real quick. I've got to
Okay.
get my mouse. I've got it hid under my book. Just let me turn it on. That way I can make
Mouse ran away.
the mouse was under my book. Let me see. I want to make sure that I'm getting them. I'm getting some alerts to my phone that I have. I agree. The visual lessons. I'm trying to find the questions. Normally Joe highlights for me. What type of baby lock did you say you had?
It's the verb, the VERVE.
Okay. You're gonna like this, but I'm gonna highlight this one so I know where to stop at. Tell me something about the goals that you have set for yourself moving forward from where you started to where you are today and moving forward into 2023.
So my first video that I created, I'm keeping it up there because it is definitely helps me to see where I started and where I am today. I'm still learning every day about making the videos, but I did an unboxing of a Americana quilt that I'm going to eventually make for my husband. I want to move away from unboxings. You can find unboxings pretty much everywhere. So the unboxings from Fat Quarter Shop, I'm not getting the box this month. Last month was my last one in December. I feel like that I've got enough of a stash from the Sew Sampler boxes that I don't need to add to it. And I've got enough notions that if I want a particular notion, I can go buy it. But the Fat Quarter box samplers, Sew Sampler boxes are wonderful when you're just starting out and you don't have a lot to choose from. It really gives you a chance to build a stash and get some patterns in your toolbox.
Absolute. I've seen with the economy, the way that it's shifting right now, I've had to let a couple boxes go as well. You pick and choose, and I'll probably be slowing mine down as well. There's so many box openings and so many projects you can do.
Because if anyone wants to watch an unboxing, I think in our quilting community, we know enough other content creators that are unboxing. So you're just watching that creator unbox a box that you've already seen. So
right, absolute. And so many of them do it so many different ways. For Martha, I started to cut up my tulle of fabric today for a quilt. What do you plan on doing with yours, and what's the next thing that you want to learn? That's from So Terry.
Oh, hey. The next thing that I want to learn is I want to learn quilting as you go. I think that that would be something really fun to learn. And my tulle of fabric, I haven't quite decided what I'm going to do with it, but the project that Sean and I are going to be working on, I can't say anything more yet because we haven't talked about it. So specifically my tulle of fabric, I'm not quite sure yet, but one of the patterns may have one of those pieces in it.
Awesome. People want to know. If I missed you coming into the chat, I greatly apologize. Let me see. I'm trying to make sure I catch any of them. Guess who Nancy says, I love that sneaky little laugh.
What, mine or yours?
Yeah, yours. I'm innocent. Janet Johnson, good morning, sweetheart. Company just came by, everyone. Good night, Carolyn. Thank you for stopping in. Martha, is she more like a sister than a sister-in-law?
Yes, she's more like a sister.
Janet Johnson, I love the boxes as well, but they're so expensive for her. Shipping is a killer for those outside of the country as well. Pattern Pool TV has great videos on QAYG.
Who does?
Pattern pull, if you want to write that down, because it'll get lost in the chat.
Okay.
Trying to make sure I've gotten everything. So no, shut my mouth off until someone tells me I've got another question. Okay, Lily did. If you were on a deserted island with fabrics, a sewing machine, and scissors, what are the 3 must-haves that you can't live without?
Okay, so I have my sewing machine, I have my scissors, and I have my fabric.
Mhm. What other 3 things that you would need that you just can't live without?
Is thread already included?
That's one. Give me 2 more.
My jack.
Yeah, you can't live without Jack.
No, cannot
Give
live
me
without
one
jack.
more.
And pins.
Pins. Okay, now how are you going to measure your fabric? I'm just curious.
Well, if we're on a deserted island,
That was a good question, Lily.
well,
I
you know
like
those
that.
trees that are out there have these little long strips. I'll take it and then sit there and fold them until break them in half and then measure
Fold
them,
and
from
break,
my head
fold.
down to my feet.
You know,
Okay,
this is
that's
6.5 inches. Katie, I stopped SS almost a year ago along with SY, and I still get cotton cuts, classic puzzle mystery box, and thread subscriptions from Fat Quarter Shop. Oh my gosh, that was so cute. I like that question. I like the fun ones like that.
That was an excellent question.
It was cool. Do you ever follow any of the organization videos? It's kind of like all quilters seem to navigate towards Karen Brown or other ones that are hitting that January, let's get organized, so that the next 11 months we can rip it apart and do it again.
Karen Brown. She, you know, hers, I'm subscribed to her, of course. And so anytime one of her videos pops up, I see it. So she's in her January organization and I'm like, okay, what can I learn from her on this video? And, you know, she's helped me quite a bit.
She's got it to a science.
She does.
I just love it. How would I, as a newbie, learn to quilt from you? Give me 3 things that you could teach me as a new person, just clicking on your channel. What would I find?
Well, you would find the self-binding placemat that I recently made a couple of months ago. That was so much fun. They're still on our table and they look great. You would learn how to do that. So you'd it would give you a chance to make something smaller than a quilt, something that you can display in your home.
Do you recommend starting small or going great big? And what's your recommendation as a YouTuber?
It really has to do with how comfortable you feel. Do you have anybody that you can go to face to face? You know, how do you learn? Do you learn by doing it with someone? Do you learn just by watching? Do you learn by doing it? Making that t-shirt quilt, there was no way I could have made it in 3 days like you did, or how you can. So a lot of mine was just trial and error. So I really truly think it just depends on the project that you want to make. And if you feel uncertain, try a little lap quilt to begin with. Make a placemat. Make a table runner. Table runners are really good also.
Yeah, I do a series about 6 months of the year of the Donna Robertson 3-yard quilts. I think that's a perfect place as a starting point.
Right.
Let me see. I recently discovered Karen Brown also and enjoy her. Denise Beck. Let me see. Boy, these are some tough questions, Teresa Louise said. I'm nailing you tonight, girl.
Bring them on. Come on.
We're going to do this till like midnight. So if you got questions, let's hit it.
I will melt away if I don't have dinner.
And today I did not see, wait a minute. I did not set a timer. Well, had to be done before hubby got home. I ripped my closet apart and put shelves in it and then threw it all back. And I can attest to that. I was doing a Zoom video chat with friends, and every time this girl went up on the ladder, I was like, I need a point of contact. And she's like, why? And I said, because if you fall and break a hip, I can't let you lay there and let your husband find you.
I help, I've fallen, I can't get up.
Yeah. And it's like her phone's way over here on her table and she's in a closet. She laid there because we had no idea. I know, right? Whatever made you decide to join YouTube and come into the YouTube university and become a teacher?
Well, I can only say that I've always wanted, when I was little, I wanted to be a teacher, specifically a kindergarten teacher. And once I was in college, I wound up going a completely different route. But I've always loved teaching, and at work, I'm most of the time a mentor as well. So I love that aspect of it. And YouTube made such a difference for me with all the creators that are out there. And I thought, I wonder if I could do something like that. And I talked to Stephanie and she goes, Martha, you can do anything you want to do.
The sky's the limit.
And yeah, and I haven't looked back. So Sean and I have a phrase that if we stop having fun, we won't do it anymore.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think a lot of us are like that. When it's not fun anymore, I don't want to do it either.
Right. Me neither. Yeah.
Let me see. Do you own a long arm yet?
No.
Getting nosy now. I'm getting in your business. What has been your most expensive purchase since you became involved in YouTube land?
Oh, in YouTube land.
Yeah, and then we're going to go to just quilting. Cameras, sound system, whatever.
Well, I use my iPhone as my primary way of creating the videos. I don't have a sound system. I guess it would be the ring light. The ring light.
Yeah, can you see? Wait a minute, let me see if I can line my eyes up.
Yep, I see it.
That's why I keep dodging. I'm going. Let me see. Janet Johnson said, Sean, your favorite, my fellow Aussie. Yeah, he's everybody's little buddy.
Yes, he is. If you don't know who Sean is from The Guy Who Sews, go check him out. He is a natural teacher as well. And he has really just been right there answering my questions for me. He said there were a few of his friends that helped him and still help him, and he wanted to pass that along as well. And I think that's just wonderful, creating that YouTube community of not only the content creators, but our fellow friends.
Absolutely. Do you have a set of role models that kind of like mentor you through the beginning year of your YouTube journey?
Some of them do without knowing it. And some of them, like Sean, he knows, he's right there with me. Becca, I watch her for inspiration. Stephanie with Stephanie Stitches, you.
I just love you.
I love you too. Karen, Brown, Lisa Capon Quilts. She's awesome. I haven't mentioned her yet. There's just, the list goes on and on. Fallon from So Be It Quilts. I can't think of any more right off the top of my head, but they're all just, I pull from little bits and pieces from them about how they do things.
And that helps.
Mm-hmm.
What major challenges have you faced so far as you're growing into the content creator that you want to be, and how did you overcome or manage them?
Making sure that I make the time to create the video, because I could get in here in the sewing room and start sewing and, oh, I should share this. And, like I made this quilt here and didn't even make a video on it, and I could have. So it's sometimes getting that tunnel vision, and getting a project done, not thinking that, hey, go make a video and share that.
Right. And I agree. What kind of strategies and mindset do you feel are required as a role of a content creator that you would be able to share with us?
What's the question? Say it again.
What kind of strategies and mindset do you feel are required for the role of a content creator that you feel comfortable that you would like to share?
I think having a positive outlook. I know personally, like Becca, from So Becca, I knew every Friday night that I was going to get to watch her. If I had a bad day at work, I know I could sit down. Sometimes my sister-in-law and I would be texting each other while we're watching her at the same time. And it gave us a chance to de-stress. And I didn't have to worry about her getting on her channel and complaining about something in life. It was a way to kind of reset and get into the quilting world and, being creative and just letting all the other stuff of the world go, even like during COVID, you talked about earlier how that's where a lot of people, you're the COVID quilter. that's your nickname now from me. Thanks.
I love you.
There's something positive that came out of a horrible pandemic. Not all of it, a lot of it was bad, a lot. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, there's some good that came out of it as well. Not that, we'd want to repeat it.
Never.
No, never. But looking back, we have to find the positive in some of the negative.
Absolutely. You got to find the sunshine on a bad day,
Yeah.
What has been the biggest challenge that you've faced as a content creator so far?
Making sure that the video that I put out is good enough that I would want to share it with everyone, because I don't want to just put out a video just to put it out. I take time to edit it, and I go back and I'm like, okay, is it something that, Donna would want to see? What can she learn from that? How can I help? Because one of my big phrases that I love so much is, we have a whole big world we live in, but our little world, we can't change the whole world, but we can change the little world we live in. Amen. And what can we do to make a difference?
Absolutely. Janet Johnson's asking, do you do your quilting yourself or do you send out to a long armor?
I do it myself. There is a quilt that my sister-in-law and I are working on. We kind of pushed it off to the side earlier in the year, but we need to start back on it so we can finish it. But that one's going to go on our bed in our bedroom. And I have a local store nearby. It's not the quilt store that I go to. This one's like more closer to me. And they have a long armor that comes in to visit. And I met with him probably about a week ago. And I said, I need to talk to you. So I figured that particular one, I'll take it and have it long armed, because it's not just going to be on the couch or, on the chair. It's going to be on our bed. So I want to take that armed.
That's the most special.
Yeah.
I want to make sure I'm getting all the questions. Diane's sewing adventure. That is my problem. I love to sew and make things, and taking time to video, it has been hard for me. Absolutely. I get in the groove of, I'm going to step in here for 5 or 10 minutes in the morning while I'm waiting on Joe to get his coffee. And next thing I know, we're midday.
And Joe's drank the whole pot of coffee, right?
That's how I keep him going. I got to crack that whip with the coffee maker. I keep him caffeined up.
So that's the trick. That's
All you got to do is hype up on caffeine, chocolate. What the questions have been answered. Thank you, Dahlia. So let me see. I want to make sure I am not missing anything of importance. Describe a time for yourself that you feel that you've failed as a content creator or wanted to pull down something you put up because you just didn't feel like it was what you wanted.
my first video. I went back and watched that thing and I'm like, oh, oh my. But I'm like, no, I'm going to leave it there because it's a way to me to go back and see how much I've grown. And
amen. Because I can remember my first one. Joe and I knew nothing. Do not go look at video number 1. Do not.
I'm going to go look for video number 1
will
now.
not let me pull it down, and I've begged and begged and begged. But I tell you what, I understand the why. He's like, each year on the anniversary, as we grow, he wants me to look at that and see where I am today.
I love it.
That was his idea because I begged and pleaded, please let us take this down. This looks horrible. We lined quilts up behind me. The camera's right here and I'm talking like this. I mean, my nose was just about on the screen, telling you my life history. So let me tell you, watch the video, you know, all my business. I was nervous.
Oh, I was nervous too. And the lighting was horrible in mine. I still don't think my lighting is perfect in this one, but the room, it's not a cool color. It's warm. So like, I think yours is more cool. Mine has more of a warm tone to it. Mm-hmm. So that makes the lighting a little bit more challenging.
He's too cute. Adventurous, huh? I'm telling you, just don't go look. It's pathetic. We look at it now. Sometimes we're laying there at night after a long day. And I'm like,
okay, how long have you been on YouTube?
April the 8th, I started. That's my first video.
A bunch of views on this video tonight.
I'm not kidding. It's like my daughter, when she and her husband want a good chuckle, they even watch it. It's bad. It's like really, really bad. It's like you could probably tell how many crow's feet I have. I was that close.
Oh, but look how far you've grown, and if there's another content or someone who wants to have their own YouTube channel, they can go back and see how much you've grown, and they can actually get inspiration from that. So that's the good in a video that you're like.
He won't even let me touch his computer because he knows that's coming down. I don't even know our passcode to get in, or it would be down. That's how much I don't like this video.
Well, I mean, you could unlist the video.
I can't touch it.
Okay.
He has access to everything. I have nothing.
He knows you too well.
Yeah, it would be gone. It would be like, oops, I made that happen. But I understand the why. I totally get the why. But wow.
Like, I totally get it, but I don't like it.
Nobody likes to look at where they start, you know, but then when you look back, like you said, and he's telling me all the time, we want to see where we started, babe. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay.
And he helped you with that first video too, right?
Oh, he's done it all. I just sit here and talk.
It's just to see, it was the first video of something that y'all did together for YouTube. So it could be a sentimental value video as well.
Donna, how many videos have you made? Question is by Teresa Louise.
Hi, Teresa Louise. I think about 30. Well, that was before Vlogmas. So maybe
Vlogmas was probably 30.
Well, at least 25.
I was looking at you guys every day going, God love yes. Better you
We had so much fun.
Oh, absolutely. The guy who says checked into the house. Hello, Sean. Your ears must have been burning because, babe, we were talking about you in a
Or
good light.
not.
In a
We
good
were
light.
not.
You'll have to go back and watch the replay.
Yes, he will.
So I don't want to keep you much longer because I promised you I wouldn't. But it's always an honor and a privilege to have you come on with us. It's
Aw,
fun. So
thank you,
anytime you
Donna.
want to come hang out, you know where to locate me. We gotta talk now. Jay took the dogs out, so you're stuck with me a few more minutes.
All right.
So let me say, anybody have any questions? Hi, at the guy who sews. It's that time to binge watch the channel.
We don't ever do that, do we?
Yeah, we do.
Yes.
So Joe's back in the house. It's safe to shut her down for the night. You stay on with me for a second. And
Yes, ma'am.
everybody, thanks for being here with us tonight. It's always fun to do these Monday night interviews. And you never know who's up next. It's always fun.
It
Take
might
care.
be you.
God bless you guys and have a fabulous evening. Bye-bye, everyone.
Good night.